Well, hello everyone. I'm Geno Geng sitting in for Whitey Willauer, where we hope he's okay. He was supposed to be here to do these interviews, but we're going to stand up and forge ahead, and I'd like to introduce my next guest, Eric Goddard, our new town crier.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for wearing the hat and the whole outfit.
I brought it for you.
Yeah.
Brought it for you, Geno.
I appreciate that, buddy.
I'll probably, go ahead and take this off. It's a little hot. But
now,
are we going to have the whole show? Because I was just sitting there.
I know, and you were a trooper.
One show?
By the way, thank you for doing that.
Well, it's my pleasure.
You did a great job.
Anything for Whitey.
That's right.
But I miss Whitey.
Okay.
I had a lot of material all lined up for Whitey, and now he's not here. So we'll see.
We'll see how.
I'll get him next time.
So, how did you get the job of being a town crier? How did that all come about?
It was a pretty strenuous interview process. Really went on for, about, I guess, 2 to 3 minutes or so. Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes. Basically, I've been telling everybody that the qualifier for the town crier job was finding somebody with as big a mouth as Curtis Barnes. I hope Curtis is on vacation. But, that was it. Actually, Curtis and I have been talking about it for a couple years. And, there was a fair amount of consideration into it. But it is the job of the town crier to appoint the next town crier. So in 30 years or so, or whenever the next one is going to take over, it'll be my job.
It'll be your choice. What is a town crier, and how did it all start?
That's a fairly extensive question. It really did start centuries ago, and in fact, it started, as I understand it, back with the Greeks. And when the Roman Empire was expanding, they had, runners that would sort of communicate the information as the Romans were coming into Greek territory. So that was sort of the precursor. Obviously, they didn't call them town criers, but that information passing was sort of the precursor to, I guess, the more modern day town crier. Of course, it evolved with that idea through the centuries, through into the Middle Ages, and then really at that time period, it was more or less a European tradition, specifically in the United Kingdom and the areas of their control. And really that process evolved around the town crier sort of posting information on behalf of the royal family or the king or queen. And of course, historically, the town crier was looked upon as and was enlisted because they tended to be a more educated, or specifically they could read back in that era. They would.
So it was important for the town crier to give information to people who could not read it.
Right.
Even.
So
it was news of the day.
Exactly.
And how often would they cry? Is that what they call it, crying?
Yeah, they would cry the news. They would get. I don't know how often. Whenever there was new laws or information that needed to be passed from the king or the queen,
right.
Then the documents would be transported to those individuals around. In the towns, and that town crier would unscroll the document and announce it, at a specific time. And then actually, if we've all seen those old movies, they would post that document somewhere, usually on a central tree, the center of the town.
Right.
Then you'd see there's a number of those old documents posted on that tree. In fact, that's really how historically how the word post really came about, and that's why today, as I understand it, why a lot of newspapers are called posts. So that's how it sort of evolved.
Very cool. And the outfit and the whole, the bell. Obviously the bell is to draw attention, but
yeah, well, that was to.
But your outfit.
Yeah, specifically, of course, the bell was to draw attention that the crier was bringing news. Historically, on Nantucket, the town crier would gather the news from the ships and then walk up Main Street reading that news. And of course, he'd ring the bell so everybody knew something was coming.
Oh, really?
They'd also, continuously be on the lookout for ships coming in the harbor, and announcing. In fact, they looked out from the Unitarian Church Tower to see what ships were coming in, and they had certain signals, bell signals from the church bell to denote specifically, you know, if it was a supply ship or a whaleboat, etc. Anyways, but the costume, Curtis had a tri-point hat, and of course, the costume was up to me, you know, it's not a particularly high-paying job. In fact, it's zero. But the Chamber of Commerce was kind enough to supply the bell, the real bell.
Oh, nice.
And that will actually remain.
Is that an original bell?
No, it's a new bell.
Oh, okay. It's a
But it will be the town crier bell, and it will be passed to the next town crier, and we'll engrave it and be specific to that.
Now, as town crier, what can we expect from you? I mean, will we see more crying? Do you have some good ideas that you want to share with us?
You know, I don't really have any good ideas, but, you know, traditionally we work Christmas stroll. In fact, Curtis and I both did this past Christmas stroll.
Right.
It was Curtis's last and my first, and we were downtown for probably 5 or 6 hours throughout the day. We go down, we officially begin stroll with the chamber, and then we walk down and get Santa Claus off the Coast Guard cutter, and we sort of escort him up. So that's one of the duties. I think that I'll participate in Daffodil Weekend to some extent. Of course, the Christmas tree lighting the day after Thanksgiving is another traditional role for the town crier of Nantucket. Sort of light the tree and announce the beginning of the Christmas season. And then, you know, I'll be available. If it, you know, obviously, you know, I'm here to, you know, I'm sort of here to promote Nantucket, right? And I'm here to promote the businesses of Nantucket.
Right.
So I'll be available.
And you add color. The idea is that,
Well,
I mean,
hopefully.
other town, does Martha's Vineyard have one?
I don't
Do we
think
know?
the Vineyard has one,
What
as
the
far as I
heck?
know. There's a few criers on the Cape. Of
There
course,
are,
there's
yeah.
criers throughout England, and really, you know, they're old, they're Commonwealth countries. I know there's quite a few town criers in Australia. In fact, there's some kind of town crier association, and I see there's a town crier competition annual that's
way.
held in Australia.
Are you going to do it?
No.
Why not?
Well, you know, I've only been in the job for about 2 months.
Gosh, you'd have to really get those vocal cords warmed up, right?
Yeah,
And that's the
that's
idea, is that when
heavy.
you compete as a town crier, I mean, you got to belt it
Well,
out, right?
I
really
that's
ring that-
heavy crying, Geno. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm looking
Anyways,
forward to seeing how you
If I
sound.
go, you got to come.
I will. Now, can people hire you to come to parties and stuff like that? Are you for hire?
Well, I'm for hire.
I mean, even though you
for-
don't get paid by the town,
Well,
would you?
This
accept?
I have a fee schedule for all
Okay.
these extra. In
All
fact,
right.
I did a wedding on New Year's Eve that was quite charming. I cried the couple down Orange Street, from Upper Orange Street down to Main Street on that beautiful New Year's Eve. It was a crystal clear night and calm. It was one of those beautiful winter days. So I'll be available for all that stuff, and the fee is precisely this for any kind of private things. If you want to pay, I would ask that you write the check to the Chamber of Commerce on behalf of the town
Okay,
crier.
all right.
So that's number one, but you don't have to pay.
All right.
Number two is this is the must. If I'm going to do something for you, I need a picture with me and the bride and groom.
You like the
or-
wedding idea then?
Oh, well, sure.
I mean, if you're going to cry, you want to be at a wedding, or do you?
Or
what about it's like a
whatever,
cocktail
whatever,
party?
you
If
know.
they asked you to just
Sure,
show
why
up?
not?
Okay, well that's good.
But I
to
get
know.
any picture, and I want an internet picture. I want a solid, real picture. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
So that's the
Something you
other.
can
That's
put
the
on
big
your wall.
fee right there.
All right. So if you're not getting paid doing this, what do you get paid to do? I mean, you obviously are a working man, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
What's your job?
Still, well, you know, I do payment processing stuff for a lot of folks on Nantucket. I work through a company called Sage, big giant global company, but I do basically credit card processing for businesses all
Ooh,
over the country.
Interesting.
That want to accept electronic payments. We do all that electronic check conversion, website stuff, credit card processing.
You
all
probably
that
have a
stuff.
really good insight on of anybody. I mean, because so much business goes through credit cards. You probably have a good idea on how much businesses actually happening here right now?
You know, I of course that I could, and of course, you know, that's pretty confidential.
I
stuff,
wouldn't ask you which businesses,
of
but
course,
overall,
nor would I tell you. But
overall, how would you judge the economy?
Overall, I do have a pretty good sense of things, although I don't really spend any time on that. I would have to. It's of some effort to sort of drill into an individual business to see.
Oh, I see.
You know,
right.
to do revenue comparisons and stuff like that.
But don't you get paid on a revenue basis? Too?
That's how the little, the compensation from the credit card processing is. We make tiny margins on all that stuff that goes through. So it is a sales job. I desperately try to keep my merchants satisfied and happy. And I obviously try to sell the product. If folks are new, I certainly like to introduce myself.
Oh, good for you.
It's good. I've been quite thankful for I've been doing it for like 12, 13
and
years.
You've got a wife and how many kids?
Yeah, I got 3 children and a wife. The kids were born here, and I got a great life. Town Crier's got a great life on Nantucket.
Well,
I'm very thankful for it.
Well, we're thankful for having you here on the show today, Eric. And
my pleasure.
Thanks for filling in for Whitey.
My pleasure.
Okay.
I'll be looking for him. There's a lot of ribbing to do, Whitey. He didn't show up for the Town Crier. What's a crier to do without Whitey? You know?
We love him. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you very much.